Hello, welcome to the Oswald Gamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Monday night's Age of Sigmar show. Still not got a proper name, so it's just Age of Sigmar Mondays or something. And I'm joined by Nathan Prescott, everyone's favourite actual main host, the host. I'm trying to say I'm the sidekick, but I failed. Nathan Prescott.
No, I'm not. I can't even speak. No. Yes, I mean, hello.
Hello, Nathan. Yeah, I can hear you. That's not the microphone you're using, though. Tap it. Okay, nailed it. Never mind. We're also joined by James. I've got a beard, and I'd like to be in the film Lighthouse 2. How are you, James?
Yeah, really good. Filming for Lighthouse 2 is going well. It's set in Japan, so I can be a kawaii girl too. And,
wow, that's an interesting.
That's how it works.
And Dan is back from his travels. Many people say that it was him that finally took the boat out of the canal. I know that is a throwback and not really relevant to last week, but I'm going to go with it because I've got nothing else in the tank. Dan, how are you?
I'm good. I would like to point out to everyone that Rob does this thing every show where he doesn't tell us the countdown is on and we're about to go live. And I feel like you're hoping that we're going to say something or slip something in there just on the button. Because we'll be sitting there, we'll be chatting, we're talking, we're laughing. And then suddenly out of nowhere, you just hear Rob go, "Hi, I'm Rob and welcome to the Honest Wargame." And I'm like, shit, what was I just saying? Every single show.
That's proper dangerous. He'll get himself banned one day.
That's all I can hope. Having done this be the fourth show today, 2 band shows just gone, and a stat show today. The only thing at this point I can think is, please never let me do this again. That's it. That's all I could think. Just fire me into the moon.
You're just getting into the groove now. Surely you're just warming up, getting there.
I'm just going to start doing it off.
I should do it every day.
I should do it. Yeah, I really need to put the reps in. I think maybe get a bit of practice under my belt. That's the.
I think it would probably make you half decent, so I would do it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. There's a lot there. Right, listen. It's a pleasure having you three on. If you guys are listening to the podcast, stay hydrated. If you're one of the thugs on YouTube, thanks for hanging out. And of course, if you're one of the gorgeous Twitch chat, thanks. I'll dance for you, Twitch chat. That's right. The two potential names for the show, if anyone would like to. One of them is Nathan and Friends. That's a good suggestion by Chuckabutty. The other one is that Nathan's name should now be Nathan Unimpresscott, because he's never impressed.
He might be today.
He might be today, yes, because the subject of today's show, it's not going to be a particularly long show because there's some very exciting news, so why not just deep dive straight into the exciting news? And we'll do that. I'm going to quickly find out who all my show hosts are. Not quickly, they don't have to rush, but I'm going to ask how my co-hosts are because I miss them and I love them and I don't get to see them. And then we're going to go and talk about Kragnos and his War Scroll and how we feel about it. And then we're also going to talk about the Age of Sigmar 3 news because they're unboxing the limited edition box on Saturday, live on air. We're also potentially going to talk about the Bandface stuff later on. Maybe it's not going to be that short a show. We're also going to talk about Warhammer Plus. Very excited to hear Dan's thoughts on that. Very, very excited to hear Dan's thoughts on that. And I have a couple of thoughts myself. Really excited to see Nathan Prescott use another website other than OnlyFans. OnlyFans Plus.
I don't even know. What's Warhammer Plus? Oh, I'll find out in a bit. Yeah, cool.
I like how you don't know. The fact that you don't know is gold. It is like solid gold. Right, okay. I'll start with you, James. James, how you been and what's going on? You gorgeous young fella. Harris Pete, hi. Hello, everyone. Battle Squeak, big love.
I am. I'm super good, super well. A bit tired. Was in an office today, so had to get up earlier than I do when I work from my house. So I'm a little bit tired. I'm painting some lady Stormcast with some lady heads. I don't know if you can see that yet.
So what makes them like without trying to like cause any sort of like international incidents? What have you done to make them ladies?
They got lady heads on.
Oh, you like Crocodile Dundee?
That's my lot.
How would that be, Nathan?
That's how he finds out if people are ladies or not ladies.
How does he do that?
With his hand. Haven't you watched Crocodile Dundee?
No, but has he been Me Too'd?
He should have been.
Should have been.
That's one of those films that definitely won't have aged well.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah, there's no one.
Maybe
they're
we
not
could review
remaking
that next week.
Yeah,
They're not
it's
remaking
like-
Crocodile Dundee 2, are they? They're not like it's the Crocodile
Oh, yeah.
Dundee remake. Although, Dan, surely maybe you should pitch that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just be like, let's see how quickly we can get it cancelled. Like, just how hard and how fast.
Flip it
Like-
up, Lady Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or-
Call that a
okay.
lipstick. I'll call this a lipstick.
Yeah, but well, no. What I was going to say is like Crocodile Dundee. The problem is, it's not about crocodiles. It's about a man. What if it's the story of a crocodile who comes onto the land to tame humans and teach us how to love?
Or
I think like that.
just a crocodile that comes onto land and goes to Dundee, the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, goes to school, has a life, meets a woman, settles
In
down.
Scotland. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, bloody cold though for crocodile. Poor
Yeah,
animal.
that's part of the problem, isn't it? Like there'd be various bits of him like run into a heat lamp, like in a survival movie. I think that would be the
That's
way
where it
forward.
goes. He goes into a shop to buy himself a coat because he's cold. Realizes that they make crocodile skin coats. Becomes
my gosh.
furious, gets his shotgun, and goes and destroys the factory where they make them or whatever. That's
Yeah.
his break point in the it writes
There we
itself.
Well, you reckon there's a crocodile coat factory in Dundee?
Imagine, I love the import cost on that.
Yeah. They import live crocodiles just to skin them and turn them into coats. And it'd have to have that line where it's like that, like some dude pulls a knife on him. It's like shink, and he's like, the crocodile's like, that's not a knife. These are knives, and then like opens his mouth and
Nice, he
it's
flips
full of
it.
teeth. And the guy's like, ah, shit. But also, let's remember the crocodile, they only have like tiny little stumpy legs, so he can't really stand up. So he's always on the ground or like flopping around being like, ah!
I think we should probably call the show a day there and go write some
Yeah,
films.
let's get
Yeah,
out of
we've
here.
thanks everyone
We've
for tuning
cracked
to this War Gamer. It's been a pleasure.
Goodbye. We'll be on Netflix in next week.
That's me. Somehow that was just me asking how James is. Dan, how have you been?
Look, I managed to fuck up the easiest thing in the world the other day, which is so I slept bad and busted up my spine.
buddy.
I don't know how. I woke up. I was like, oh, I probably need to go for a quick piddle. And then as I went to roll out of bed, I just heard like a splorch and a couple of popping noises from my middle back. And I was like, good. That is agony. And so I've just been slowly asking myself, what did I do to upset the bed gods? Maybe farted in it a little bit too much. Yeah, R.I.P. spine. So I'm tossing up between two different possible solutions.
I'm so sorry.
One is just heavily medicate with alcohol, which I'm leaning towards, and possibly stretch a little bit. The other one is, after playing a little bit of Mortal Kombat, I've just gotten a few ideas with just how to remove the spine completely. So I'm
What
thinking I
Mortal
might
Kombat?
go with that.
I forgot
so
that. Sorry, can I just update? Because Dan said Mortal Kombat, and obviously this is a short show.
Yeah.
I went to the cinema last week and saw
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
How
That's
was
all.
it?
Yeah. Wow.
Like going to the cinema, amazing. Mortal Kombat, even better.
I don't know.
Well-
Did it have the classic line where it's like, "Mom, you're alive," and it's like, "Too bad you will die." Like just the most classic line from the Mortal Kombat
It
Annihilation.
definitely had Get Over Here.
Oh, good.
Which is
That's all it needed.
That's all it really needed. And Raiden, although who played Raiden in the original one? Was it Christopher Lambert? Amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Amazing
Yes, it
individual.
was.
Amazing individual. Died exactly how I want to die. Is he die? I think he died. How I want to
Who
die.
knows?
Google it. Don't Google Icy Winters. So, James, don't. Dan, don't do it. Don't Google Icy Winters. Don't do it. Right. So, James, I wanted to ask about Mortal Kombat. Last night, when we finished the Super Series yesterday, it was very tired, but I was like, look, we're a bit knackered. Intern Matt was staying at mine. Dan, little quick side note, if you want to sleep on a bunk bed, very comfortable for the spine. I've reviewed one recently I've got bunk beds in my flat now. They're great. But little side note, anyway, Matt came back to mine and we were like, well, let's watch a movie and eat some food. I made him a stir fry and we watched the new Army of the Dead film. Yeah.
Oh.
Good.
Yeah. Do not watch that film. 0%
Really?
good. Yeah, so bad. So bad.
0% good. Isn't that where Dan was the last 5 weeks making that?
No. Other things. We don't talk about that. We're not allowed to talk about that. There's an NDA involved. But that's disappointing because like from all the trailers, I'm like, this is the zombie movie I've been waiting for. So it's kind of heartbreaking to hear that.
Yeah, it's like it's as bad as I think Mortal Kombat should be.
Yeah, I went to Mortal Kombat. I was like, this is going to be bad, but I'm going to have a really nice time because I haven't been to the cinema in like a year and a half, and I just want some nachos with questionable cheese. And then like I came out and I was buzzing. If anyone gets a chance, just listen to the soundtrack. There's one song on there. You'll know which one. Top notch.
Okay. All right, sweet.
I would say that like one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies though is 100% the old school Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like that is just, it's so bad. It's so terrible.
JVD.
Yeah, but Street Fighter specifically, that is just the best old school bad movie. Scenery chewing good. I love it.
For you, it was the worst day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday.
Just the best lines.
The best line ever. My favorite B movie is, of course, The Gods Must Be Crazy, which brings me on to Nathan Prescott. Nathan, how have you been and what have you been up to?
Yeah, been all right. I've slept okay, thank you. I've not broken my back sleeping. Yeah, otherwise, hobby-wise, I've finished my other gargants, and I've got 3 ale guzzlers and a war stomper ready, one-eyed grunnock, and 3 ale guzzlers ready for the weekend. So yeah.
Wow, okay, so you'll be playing at the weekend. We'll talk about that in a moment. I want to ask, did you happen to catch any of the Gargant battles that occurred this weekend on the TSN? It's okay if you were busy, but they put one, like, there were, so one went 0-3, run by Rick, but the other one, run by Andy, went 2-1.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't manage to catch it over the weekend, but I had it on while I was at work today, in my ears, so, yes, I've just heard, the one that beat Tony with the KO. Yeah, the Gargans beating the KO. That was pretty impressive. And it sounded like the other one was quite close as well against the Daughters of Cain in the second round, at least. First round, no. But second round, yeah.
First round, big no. Second round, there was a little bit more. There was a little more give, and then also played into the chain host. Quite interesting. It was the DPS check, which I find fascinating. But yeah, it was a big 12-inch charge by Andy into the Prime, the Celestant Prime, and murdering him. I think via the impact hits, he did quite a few. Killed him with his club, and then death gripped the gun holder that was next to him to death at the same time. So if you imagine a Mega Gargant just going over and toe punting the Celestant Prime into oblivion while grabbing a boat out of the sky and crushing it, it's about the most Kong thing you can think of, and it must have looked incredible. Yeah, so super cool. Nathan, the Gargants this weekend, you've written yourself a Gargant list, is that correct?
Well, it's I don't have enough for a pure Gargant list, and probably. I don't know if I'd play that. I like having lots of different toys on the table. So, no, it's a Gitmob list. Not a Gitmob. It's a Gloomspite list. It's so it's One-Eyed Grunnock as an ally, and then the Ale Guzzlers, which are still a thing, in the Gloomspite.
They're so much better than Man Crushers.
I know.
Well, yeah, it's such a better name as well. So yeah,
such a better name.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, why would you want to be called a Man Crusher when you could be called an Ale Guzzler?
Maybe there's not enough beer left in the mortal realms for them to all be Ale Guzzlers, and maybe that's the problem.
My question
also,
is...
specifically, of all the things in the mortal realms that you could crush, why men? That's one of the easiest things to crush. It's like, what did you do? I crush men. It's like, cool. Like you and most things. If you were like, what are you? Like eel crusher Gargant. You're like, oh damn, that's tough. Like that's like Kraken eater. You're like, okay, intense mood there. Eating Krakens, powerful.
Eel gripper, surely. Eel gripper. Gargant.
Yeah. That's got to be hard to grip an eel. Gotta be.
Gatebreaker, tough. Man Crusher, it's like a Stormcast with a hammer crushes a man. Like anyone worth their salt in the mortal realms that's 155 points or more can do that. So come on, mate, up your game. Guzzle ale or be better.
Tom in the chat is saying that we've got it wrong. They're not physically crushing them, that they have crushes on men full time.
That must be like hard to get your head around when you're fighting a bunch of handgunners. You're just like, that one's hot. That one's. Maybe that's why they put some in their pants. They're like, that one's good.
that one's really good.
Save that one for later.
Right.
This is taking a dark turn, and I regret it.
Oh, that's great.
Nathan, how long were you spending thinking about the fact that they're called man crushers and not ale guzzlers? Ballpark.
It's probably about half an hour or so.
Just sat in a field with a beer, just thinking it through, just processing. That's what you got to do through trauma, is what people tell me. Process it. But what I do is I run from it. That's my tactic.
I think I was in a hot tub, but yeah, sure.
You were in a hot tub? Nice. Also, Gabe in the chat is just saying that his Mega Boss on War Crusher is giving you a big high. I don't know if you saw the Mega Boss on War Crusher giving some slaps out yesterday. He put a Mega Gargan in a round and also 10 Knights. 10 Chaos Knights with rerollable saves with a 3-up save.
Yeah, well, of course, he's a Mega Boss on War Crusher. That's what he does all the time. 10 times out of 5.
That's a good statistic.
Yeah. We'll get that on the stat show, is what we'll do. All right, well, I'm glad that you three are well.
How are you doing?
I'm a bit tired, I'm not going to lie. It's been a very long weekend doing all the setup, cleaning the venue up. It looks really nice now, thank you. Had 2 wonderful teams in the Marauders. And
hard work climbing up to the top bunk, eh?
It's very hard climbing up to the top bunk. Yes, I've moved my bed upstairs now, so I have to go up an extra set of stairs to go to sleep. It's very tiring. But the games yesterday were very exciting. It was thrilling to talk them through. There were some key clutch moments. I will just let everyone now know that my Gargant's hatred has gone from I hate them to I'm not sure. That's where they're at. That's where it's at. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm pro them. I don't think I'm even medium them, but I'm not sure at the minute.
Could you give us the Gargan-like improvement in a Nathan Prescott style percentage?
Okay, so I was previously giving them like a good 10%. But I'd say I'm now like at like a 35, 38.9%.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what? That's not the worst.
No, Gargant Curious is what I'd say. I mean, I think the guys who brought the list this weekend had some like they were identical lists, which I think is very interesting. So it was Double Gatebreaker, Kraken Eater, and then it was also a 1 unit of 3 Man Crushers, not the much superior El Guzzlers, of course. But it was interesting to watch them play. I think mainly because of 2 of the scenarios, specifically Battle for the Past, where you can kick your own objective into the middle, and also Focal Points, where monsters count as more points. There's like a really good reason to take those monsters. So maybe if there was a more even spread of battle plans. I don't know. I didn't know. Is what I'm going to say. I still I don't love how they play, and then ultimately, when they fell apart quick, and you could kind of see. You really it's a weird playstyle, right? Hope not to die.
But I mean, that sounds about normally everybody's game plan.
You don't know this.
Whatever game you're playing.
I think the problem is they have no built-in redundancy. Like something goes wrong, they lose a unit, and it's a huge blow to the army. Whereas even in most other big stuff, even in a death army that's got Nagash, yes, they rely a lot on Nagash, but they still have 1,000 points of the rest of the army to play with. Where with the Mega Gargants, you lose one of those, you're like, oh, that's such a huge portion of my ability to score, to do anything. I don't have any redundancy in the list from it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Anyway, interesting. But I tell you what wasn't scary, or what was scary, Marathi and Bow Snakes. And you know what got banned in both band shows today? Marathi. Straight away.
Wow.
They're like, Marathi, go. Next one, Marathi, go. I was like, okay.
We don't like Marathi.
Right, anyway, so I had a really fun weekend doing that. Looking forward to doing another weekend of it tomorrow. I got to hang out with Darren and Speckles and intern Matt and Scrivo, who are all great. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, let's get on with the hot news. Because Age of Sigmar 3 is going to be unboxed. We know it's Dominion. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that now. We'll kind of like a lovely sandwich. We'll do a layer of mined salt. Then we'll get a cheeky War Scroll cheese middle, and then we'll stick a Warhammer Plus mine of salt at the end. And, then we'll...
and God help us when we get to the layer that's just Chipotle. Because, when they were making like normally in the burrito, you want the layers even so every bite has a little bit of everything. But sometimes there's just a solid chunk where you're like, I'm just eating sauce for the next several bites. When we hit the sauce bite, it'll be the struggle bus. But we'll
is that the moment when you get a bad sandwich artist over a good sandwich artist?
It's when you get a community college artist versus like a full-on arts degree.
I'd love to go to community college. That'd be so good. I don't know what I'd study. Probably something really primed for ADHD kids. I don't know what. Anyway, right. So I don't know what that would be. I don't know. Whatever I'm good at.
Warhammer.
I'm not good at that though, am I, Dave? I'm just good at talking about it. Right. Now, listen. The Age of Sigmar 3 has been... So Kragnos is on pre-order. The Kragnos book is on pre-order. So that's the first bit of news. It's on pre-order. So then next Friday, we're going to learn all of the Kragnos stuff, which is really exciting. So when all of the content creators who get it ahead of time get their stuff. So that means we're going to find out Kragnos' War Scroll, which we already know, but we're going to find out more stuff. Looks like there's some Sylvaneth news in there as well. There might also be a Beast of Chaos battalion, because there's a new Sylvaneth model, and we're going to get his stuff. There's a Percussive Scruff, thanks for donating £6.90 to the show. That's very much appreciated. Loads and loads. Skull to you. We're also going to see, that's very, very cool of you. We're also going to see Croak's new War Scroll, so that's very exciting for everyone. Very exciting for everyone. We also maybe see some Beast of Chaos stuff. There's also a Skaven box set on pre-order. Not got any new Skaven models in, neither the Beast of Chaos one. But we might be seeing some new Skaven War Scrolls potentially as well, or at least a Skaven battalion. Maybe. So has anyone got any feelings or thoughts on any of that?
I have a feeling or a thought on the pre-orders that are up for next weekend, and that's that Radakar the Wolf and Radakar's Court went up for pre-order at, like, here in Canada at $195 Canadian for both combined, which is just a little bit less expensive than the whole
of the village that shall not be named
Haunted Hamlet box. And the worst part is that they're sold out. They're sold out. Who bought those?
Maybe there was only 4 of them.
Yeah, think about that.
That's a possibility. Thank God. Anyway, no, I'm genuinely I'm really, really frothy excited. That salt mine out of the way. I'm really excited for all these releases. This is like genuinely. I think I was in a lull. I was in a War Dolly lull, and just like back-to-back banger releases, things that I'm excited about or at least interested in. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like I'm feeling that hype train building inside of my beardy loins, and so I'm really excited for all of that. Just to read it, to see it, I think it's going to be great.
So yeah, I mean, I'm actually very excited. An update for Sylvaneth. Very exciting. Their book has been languishing for a long time. Yes, maybe. I think the rumor behind the scenes is Alarielle gets a War Scroll update and she gets pretty kick-ass. So that's the rumored scuttlebutt. So that's cool. We obviously got the new character as well. Maybe we'll see some new War Scroll updates. Like Ellis is saying in the chat, we have heard that maybe 7 armies are going to get updated War Scrolls. So we could see new Skaven War Scrolls, which would be cool. Not that I think any of them really need changing. They're all pretty great. Maybe just some points moving here or there. The War Scrolls for Skaven aren't really an issue, I would say. It's mainly the sub-factions not really existing and also battle traits. But that's a side note. Beasts of Chaos are going to get some War Scroll updates. And this is where it gets really interesting in Beasts of Chaos. Because I don't know how to just... No, that's not a right way to put it. You know when you're looking at a hot group of guys? Yeah. They're a group. This way, if I say it about guys, it's fine, apparently. Yeah. Well, you know when you're looking at a group of guys, but there's only one hot one and the rest are chubby like me. There we go. It's self-depreciating as well, so there's no way you can ever... You can't cancel me, you fucks. Yeah? You can't cancel me at all, right? Do you know what I mean,
You're being very politically correct, yeah.
Thank you, Nathan.
When you're, but Rob, as the chat reminds us, when you're a man crusher and you're looking at a group of men and you're crushing,
and only one of them is the hot one.
You're crushing on one mega time. Yeah. Gotcha.
And the others are a bit like a one-eyed Grunnock.
Take it or leave it. Yep.
Yeah, take it or leave it. So my real point is that would be like what would happen if they updated just one Beast of Chaos War Scroll, and they were like, this one is really good, and the rest are like, oh no, like because they all need updating pretty severely, is what I think. So like if they just updated the Gorgon.
Yeah, true.
But it is the best model.
But James, what if it's the only good unit?
It's fine. I'll just take 12.
Can't take 12. You can only take 4. Come on.
Maybe they'll change the rules. Maybe there'll be battle line if.
Battle line if. Who would be the general?
165 points. There'll be a named one.
The chariot. A named Gorgon on a chariot.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Or you just take the tax. Just take the 90-point wizard and all Gorgons. That's what I want.
Okay, fine. So
Gordon on his chariot, he's a Gorgon, and he's not a man crusher, even though he's the best looking one.
Yeah.
You put him on the table and you're like, yes, I've got this. This is really good. I'm feeling very confident. And then very quickly into it, you're like, oh no, I have made a terrible mistake as all of your Gorgons are lifted off the board in a heartbeat.
I did once have a Gorgon in one round of combat kill 4 eels. I think it was.
No, that's not bad.
That's fun. Did you have to sacrifice the rest of your army to let that happen?
No, it was just hilarious because I played someone they didn't play very well. I killed 1 eel in combat, but then ate one out the middle, rolled well, and then they all died to battle shock. But other than that,
you didn't really kill 4, kind of, but not really.
But I did. It's a story that I keep to the ages. Eels worse than Gorgons.
One thing his grandchildren are going to hear about every fucking day.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh,
Gordon.
Gosh. Here we go again.
Gorgon.
So Shugo makes the good point in the chat. So anyway, so we get a new book. It's very exciting, in my opinion. And I think we get loads of new War Scroll updates, and I hope it's good as Marathi's updates because they did really nice stuff with both Daughters Cain and Idneth. Not that I think either really need. Oh, the Idneth units specifically need it, not the army as a whole. So it'd be nice to see them definitely lift up Sylvaneth as an army in a load of different ways, and I think that would be really fun. And it would also it would be really nice to see them pick Beast of Chaos up, and also maybe just give Skaven some more tools would be nice. So now one of the things that I don't know if you guys saw, but Shugo's pointing out in the chat. Did you see the article, the artwork for Alarielle in the style of the Collector's Edition's Broken Realms books? Did you guys happen to catch that particular image? I'll go see if I can find it now. While we
got released a while ago, right?
So no, it came out like it was recently. So there's like a set of collector's edition images. I'm going to see if I can find it on the community site. I'm not sure if it's there now. But the point of it was that that there was an Alarielle book. So it looked like there was meant to be more Broken Realms books potentially.
So Alarielle was supposed to get her own Broken Realms book, which would then tie in with her War Scroll update. Is that what we're saying?
That's what we're saying, and with also that unit. But I think the reason that we've not seen it potentially is because there we go. I've got the image on the screen for everyone. So if I just give me a sec for there we go. So you guys can see it on the screen now. So as you can see, there's these 5 like images.
Right.
It feels like the Everqueen and also the other one was slammed together. Maybe because of a COVID update, maybe because of a timing issue, not really sure. A bit of a shame that she didn't get her own book and her own story, but maybe Kragnos will just be a bigger book eventually.
It probably happened on the Evergreen, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what they did. They had. While they were stuck, they were like, hey lads, can you just take 2,000 books, cut half off, stick them to the other half with some mashed
just
up
take the
seaweed.
covers off. Yeah.
No, they needed to use them to dig. Yeah. They used them as like shovels to help dig the sand.
Yes, I agreed. So yeah, I would Everqueen stuck on the Evergiven. Thank you for that. But yeah, maybe there wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's just because it's a named character. Maybe it's just one of the things. We're not really sure. But anyway, I think that was
These are just short stories, though, right? So, maybe it was never. It'd be odd if it wasn't intended to be a book, given that the other 4 there were all books. But maybe it's because she's getting a big update that they've done a short story about her. I don't know.
Well, I mean, either way, I think it's an exciting time if you're a Sylvaneth player, and there are a lot of Sylvaneth players out there. So I'm personally, as a Sylvaneth player, I'm excited.
Watch you all come out of the woodwork. All you Sylvaneth players who for like however many years you've been like grumble, grumble, Sylvaneth, grumble, grumble. They've never touched the table because your army's hot garbage. You're a bunch of firewood. And now you're like, oh no, I never stopped loving them. Bring out the bandwagon so the Sylvaneth players can jump on it, I say.
Yeah.
Well, they're elves, so you'll be one of them.
Yes. Well, the point is, I think, with the Sylvaneth update, is I was excited for a small moment, Dan, as a long-time Sylvaneth player, as much as you might criticize me. I've been playing for a long time. Nathan will attest to it, even before Age of Sigmar 1 came out. Thank you to Sir Grail for donating £10 to the show. Yes! It's actually fucking great, because I'm broke as fuck, so that's fucking great. Thank you so much. So earlier on I wasn't getting too keen about it, but now I am keen, so thank you. The point is, Dan, Nathan, James, is I was excited about the Sylvaneth book, and then I remembered that to go to a tournament, I would have to take my fucking Wildwoods with me, and then I completely gave up giving a fuck, is what I said. Yeah, and also I don't even have any of the new Wildwoods, and I'm not buying them, because I bought 7 or 8 of the last set, so I'm not buying the new ones. So do you know what? Don't care, is where I'm at now.
Serves you right.
That's why I don't care. I hope that the new update is like Wildwoods are... I want them to just be more of an option than a need. Do you know what I mean?
Or just one. Just need one.
One.
Yeah.
One's fine. One's fine.
Well, yeah, like all the other armies that have a terrain piece. It gives them something. It's just one. It's in your spot, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Nathan, how do you feel about that?
Sir Grail, good to see you, mate.
About
nice.
the stick things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be good to see them again. I've not seen any stick things for ages.
You haven't? My stick things will be ready to fight your grot things at any opportunity, but the new book's rubbish. So, and Matt Mallow, I think I saw him in the chat. He's trying his hardest. So, anyway, fine. Whatever the situation. Yeah. James, you don't seem bothered. Yeah. What you painting, James?
I am painting Stormcast.
You know they're all going to be invalid when the new stuff comes out.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm using them the weekend. So.
Oh, okay. Pressure there.
I guess the other thing you should bring up while we're talking about the bell box thing that came out. We've not had any destruction ones, and it was supposed to be destruction.
That's correct, Nate.
Where's my battle box?
Where is your battle box? What battle box would you want?
Don't care. Just a destruction one.
You've got a battle box. You got Beast of Chaos. They're basically destruction now.
Yeah, they are basically destruction now.
I really like that destruction players have been beaten for so long that they're just like, I just want a battle box. They don't even want one for their specific army. They just want a box for their
What army do you want? Don't care. Give me one model from each one.
Just one.
One ogre, one grot, one orc, one savage orc, one boar without the rider.
Happy. They're literally like the least.
Just all leftovers, please. Whatever you've got.
They're the least favorite child who's just like, Mum and Dad, do we have just any even scraps? I'll just have some scraps, maybe a crumb. And then Mum and Dad they're like, no. And it's like, nearly.
Here's the leg of a squig.
Yeah.
The body of a mournfag. And probably Kragnos' spare head, because there will be loads.
Can I just thank Crazy Horse for donating £16.69 to the show? Very much appreciate that. And Stu Redacted. This is so exciting, because I'm going to sell so many RVs tomorrow. Get ready. If you guys want some bargain basement sales tomorrow, check my Twitter. So thanks very much for everyone donating £5 to the show. It's so nice. Thanks, Stu Redacted. Right, so... let's move on to, and you guys are all wonderful, thanks. Let's move on to the Kragnos War Scroll, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Nathan, James, Dan, you excited? Kragnos War Scroll. Here we go. Kragnos, the end of
the big man
Empires.
himself.
And we are going to be playing a new game at the end of this section. I don't know if Gitly's still in the chat. But Kragno or Kragnot? Yeah?
No.
That's what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be asking, are you going to take him or are you not going to take him? How many points do you think he's going to be? Right,
6,000.
so I'm going to read through the stuff, and I need you three to react and talk to me about that stuff. I'm not talking about it all on my own. Here we go.
You want to talk about it
18
all on your own?
wounds.
Is that what you said?
Craig, no, you didn't. So he's got 18 wounds with a 2-up armor save. However,
Why?
All right, Dan, what's your initial reaction?
Look at him. Is he wearing that much armor? Is he actually like he's flesh? He's
Daughters
flesh.
of Cain,
How is he
Fire
a
Slayers.
dude?
Daughters of
He's
Cain,
big.
Fire Slayers. Daughters of Cain, naked. The Fire Slayers are more naked.
But Nagash, look at Nagash. He's wearing like my Morricane, like the armor. You can look at all of these other gods
He's
covered
also
in
a skeleton, though. Like, so anything that goes through doesn't hit flesh, does it? Just hurts his bones. Them
you know what?
bones.
He has scars. Looking at the model, he literally has visible scars, which
You're
means
getting getting mugged off in the chat, Dan. He's got a shield.
And there are no. You stop, chat. You stop. He might have a shield, but there are rules for his shield, meaning that his shield is already doing something. Just anyway, whatever. Yep, go on. Freaking, he's a god. He's got a 2-up save. It's sucker. That one, right? Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, you man crush
There we
away.
go.
I'm just thanking the gorgeous Rob Kelly for donating £10 to the show, and also Destruction Players. What the fuck does that say? Someone donated some money to the show, and I can't read what it says. Does anyone?
Destruction player chuckles.
Just hit £40 to the show. That's really nice, and you shouldn't have done that. That's too much money. £10 I can accept, but I don't want to talk to anyone anymore. I'm going to hide the screen for a bit. That's very lovely of you. Thank you. So you keep reacting to 2+ armor save, please. While I just
I don't care how big his shield is. Also, sorry, I'm for those who are slagging me off in the chat about the shield. Look at the size of the shield compared to his body. He has 4 legs. How is he shielding all 4 legs simultaneously?
Do you know why maybe he's got a 2-up armor save?
Why?
Because if you got 2 legs, right, and someone hits one, then you have to hop. If you got 4, you can do that thing like you see the dog, it's got 3 legs and it's still living life. Maybe that's how it works. So the 2-up is to reflect that if you chop a leg off, he's still going.
I hate this model.
Anyway,
What?
the shield. The shield.
What?
As a destruction model, he uses the shield to hit things anyway, not to shield himself. So
yeah, body shaming gods is unkind. Do you remember when that guy got cancelled for talking about Ganesh? Thought about that?
I didn't know that even happened.
Which is the one?
I don't remember it because I never heard it.
Which is the
You're
one
making
with
it up.
Which is the fella with the? Is Ganesh all the arms, or which one is?
Ganesh is the elephant.
With the big tubby body.
He's an elephant.
I don't know. I know my Age of Sigmar gods a lot better than I know my real world gods.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you to Kragnos Nostalgia for donating £1 to the show. That's a hilarious, obviously, Kragnosta. I can't say it, but that's great. Right, okay. 18 wounds with a 2-up save. Good armor save. Dan, I can't believe you hate the model. I just like to TLDR this.
No, I
like the I think this is a great war scroll. Just going to put that out there. Great war scroll. Great war scroll. Cool. And why do I think that? Because I think the sorts of people that are excited about the model and that would run it probably won't read most of the war scroll and aren't like all of the knives and forks in a drawer, is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, Scraggy has got a new pony and it's called Craggy. So Scraggy and Craggy go to war. New book.
Written by Nathan Prescott. Nathan Prescott. Someone, if anyone's listening, please draw me the front cover of that. Yeah. Sorry, Dave, say that again.
So it's got a few pictures. Job done. Scraggy and his pony. Craggy.
Scraggy and Craggy. If anyone would like to draw me the artwork for Scraggy and Craggy, I would love to see the.
It sounds like a buddy comedy, like a buddy cop comedy movie. You know, like one of them, it's like he's all rage and looking for revenge, and then the other one is like he wants to get to the truth.
His family were murdered, and they took the nets. Now he's got a best friend, and they're gonna go find the nets. In this month's adventure, Scraggy and Craggy find the net. and like that's the title, and then like throughout the film it continually just says we need to find the net, and like that's it. Because
I can't wait for Craggy to like slowly Craggy slowly talk to Scraggy and be like big bumbly voice like, "Hey Scraggy, stop doing the mushrooms, they're hurting your brain." Scraggy to be like,
"Are we casting Arnold Schwarzenegger?" Nice.
That's true. Warhammer Plus, if you are listening, please give us our royalties for that. So he's got an 18 wounds with a Torp slave. Let's talk about this. We're not talking about we need to talk about his DPR save. There's none. So he doesn't have a ward, you might notice that, or a feel no pain. He doesn't have a damage prevention roll or an after damage save. None of those things exist. So mortal wounds will punch through that armor save pretty quickly anyway, and of course including rend, because probably one of the things we should talk about at the end is that you can't do any allegiance abilities on him at all. Basically, there's almost no ways to buff him in any way, shape, or form, apart from if you stick him in mixed destruction and you do a little bit of cheeky this and that. Thanks to Guy Zaidi for donating £5 to the show, and I hope he's safe and well where he is. That's really nice. So yeah, so he's 18 wounds with a top side, which is really, really great unless he fights any of the things that have got a mortal wound output, in which case. But that isn't everyone, right? That isn't everyone. Like, I would actually say this 2-up armor save meta that we're going into is quite interesting, because Ren 2's fairly rare. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Nick J. Fowler, for donating £25 to the show. It's very much appreciated. A lot. That's very lovely of you. Thank you, Nick J. Fowler. That's really nice. Could you guys talk about some other... Yeah, cheers.
I love how bashful you get. It's really cute. It's adorable.
It's really nice. And
should we just talk about Rob instead?
That's really helpful. No, just talk about Scraggy, because... Just talk about Scraggy.
Why do you have a piece of paper that says "Hate Dan"?
Because you said you didn't like the model. Fuck you, Dan.
I didn't mean I didn't like the model.
Dan doesn't like the model.
He doesn't like the model. It's a fucking great model.
I never said that. Stop gaslighting me. I said I hated that it has a 2-up save. I think the model is amazing. I hate the 2-up save. Oh, Rob, climb under the desk, mate, because some Norwegian dude just put you in a coffin.
You did. Should we carry on? Right, where were we? I'll carry on reading because Rob's gone. If you want to tip Rob more,
he's got nothing that would give him a ward save, so it's fine.
Well, I'm going to talk about this though because I saw it earlier. So I'm going to read some.
Oh, bloody hell! That Norwegian dude really got carried away. That's 50 quid. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
That's what I'm saying. He's like somewhere that.
I'm just sitting on the floor crying. So you carry on.
Okay, so I'm going to carry on.
Taking off stream. Come back on.
Carry on with the show. The YouTube guys will hate this.
Kragnos, the End of Empire, is his named character. He's a single model. He's armed with the Dread Mace, Tuskbreaker, and a Hooves of Rack and Ruin. I like the fact he named his hooves. We should point that out.
Yeah, because
no one only named 2 of them.
Yeah, just the other one? Rack and Ruin, just the front ones. The back ones aren't important.
Can we also talk about how he's got like Tuskbreaker, the Hooves of Rack and Ruin? Like he's got really well named, powerful other stuff. And then clearly they were like, "What do you want to call your mace?" And he was like, "Dread." They're like, "What?"
Maybe he's like, a big Dread fan.
The Dread Mace. It's a dreadful mace. And they're like, you don't want to go with like Sun Smasher or Mountain Eater or like we've got Gatebreaker, just Gargants. Gate breaking is in their name. He's like, nah, it's Dread. It's like, there's a lot of dreadful things in the Mortal Realms. Like, nah, Dread. Dread Mace. Good. Nailed it.
Cool.
Good swallow,
but it's worth pointing out, because I read it earlier, don't know where, but did. And so the Bellow of Rage, which is the first ability we're going to get to, says, when wounded, Kragnos bellows at the top of his lungs, the sound waves bursting the eardrums of those nearby and rocking buildings at their foundations. All I could see is the chat.
They're all bastards!
Thanks to Lord Whale, the Lord Whale, and Chris Danish for
MJ
donating.
Pegasus.
Yeah, for donating some subscriptions and loads of cash. You're all gents.
You know what I dig as well is that knowing the Twitch chat as well, it's 50% of people that just like big love for obviously like all of the War Dolly content that the Honest Wargamer puts together, but also a large number of them just want to make Rob blush. And I really like that it's kind of the two different sides of that. It's like, love it, support, blah, blah, blah. But also, let's make this man dance and blush.
I'm getting water. I'm leaving. Carry on.
Okay. So,
yeah, thanks to Ziggy as well. And
Real Poly Geek.
Real Poly Geek. Yeah.
Oh, Trendy Love. Gifted.
Trendy
I mean,
Love.
we can't do a show while this happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're on a hype train. Look at that. Trendy Love got in there.
Yeah, Dave Fresh has resubscribed. So yeah.
Good shout, everyone. Thank you very much to those that donate and those just for being here. Look at all the people watching, and we're just doing nothing. I'm going to carry on.
113. Look at all this.
Somebody going to talk about this ability.
Yeah. Where's the dancing, Rob? They're throwing lots of money at you. Dance.
You just dance for the show. Right, Bellow of Rage. Bellow of Rage. Right. At the end of any phase, if any wounds were allocated to this model in that phase and not negated, and that's the bit so I was talking about, I think, with Rob earlier, it like specifically says and not negated. Don't know how he does that though. Roll a dice for each other unit and each defensible terrain feature within 6 inches of this model. If the roll is equal or greater than the Bellow of Rage value shown on this model's damage table, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and that defensible terrain feature is demolished.
Then it goes on to describe what defensible terrain is. Some designers' notes. Mm-hmm. So terrain features that can be garrisoned, apparently, are defensible. So you don't see any of those other than the Lumineth Shrine and the
so I think
Seraphon Ziggurat thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because there's a chance, I guess, then that we might see that as a keyword in the new Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, something to do with terrain. Hopefully that's coming up.
Defensible.
Next month or so. Age of Sigmar number 3. So, yeah.
Also not a bad way for armies that rely on their terrain feature or whatnot, and then he runs up, he gets hurt, and then he just screams at it. He's like, "Stop existing!" And then it goes. So like, he could counterplay like against Idneth and things like that.
Yeah.
So he's
like Severeth, but only targets specifically Seraphon and Lumineth. So Severeth can come over and destroy his, and then he'll run over and destroy Severeth's one.
Maybe they like to just go backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
No one's really putting 2 and 2 together, are they? I don't think So James, what are you painting?
Some Stormcast.
Dan, what are they going to release for Age of Sigmar 3?
Some Stormcast.
Nathan, what things do they always put out with new releases at the moment?
Books.
Boxes.
Boxes with no destruction models inside.
New paintbrushes.
Come on, I know you guys could get this.
War Scroll cards.
Yeah. Terrain.
A key to the city.
Terrain.
Nah.
And Dan, cycle back. You didn't love the Liberators, but the Liberators were inside of
spaceship.
Me the whole time.
Storm Keeps. Surely we're going to be seeing some Storm Keeps.
Yeah.
What about Cogfort? Can't we see a Cogfort?
We could. Ziggy, thanks for donating 5 gift subscriptions to the chat. You fucking wait. You shouldn't do that. Super lovely. Also, Ziggy's got a great voice. I don't know if anyone's ever watched. Does anyone watch Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula? And then for this next bit, as anyone watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, all of it, there's an amazing episode where they find Scott Bakula working in a care home, but they think he's quantum leaped there. So he's like, does that make sense? So like they see him and they think he's quantum leaped into that storyline, but really he's just doing some method acting. He says, but then later on it turns out he has quantum leaped in there. And Chumphammer's donated 10 gift subscriptions, so that fucking ruined the story, is what it did. Yeah, thank you to Chumphammer. That's very lovely of you. It's the Wiz episode. What are the rules? Woo! Anyway, thank you, everyone. You guys are great. Thanks, Chumphammer, for donating a gift subscription in the chat as well. It's so nice. What were you guys talking about? Nathan, carry on talking. Getting mad. Thanks, Chumphammer.
I think James was reading the War Scroll. We were just finished talking about the old Rage Bellow of Rage.
Yeah,
so
and there is
a
thing in there, isn't there, where it basically says he can negate wounds. But obviously we, as of yet, don't know any way he can negate wounds. But it's weird that they would put that on his War Scroll if he has no ability to.
Yes.
And not negated. So if he stood next to Mystical, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I guess. Yeah, because but you don't allocate the wound, do you? Because it hasn't happened. Who knows? Maybe it's just bad writing. It wouldn't be the first time. No offense, GW.
Well, no, I think even armor saves count as negated, right? You negate you negate a wound with an armor save. The other good suggestion that I heard. Thank you very much to Smitty Pence for donating 100 bits to the show. Eyeglasses for donating 1,000 bits to the show. That's incredibly kind. That's fucking all of you two kind guys, Eddie. Thanks very much. Lord Wealth gift subscription. Everyone can stop now. It's very lovely of you. You've all been really, really nice. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. The point is maybe we'll see a Kragnos. This is the best thing I saw said today. A Kragnos, get ready for it, sub-faction like Be'lakor.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
And there, Nathan, is your box of destruction where you've got like a Morn Fang. So you're allowed to take one model out of each destruction range. So one Morn Fang, one Lead Belcher, one Scrap Launcher,
a Sneaky Snuffler.
One Scrap Launcher.
one Sneaky Snuffler, one Netter, and that's the box. And they're all in Scraggy's sub-faction. How do you feel about that?
Great, but they've said what the battle boxes were. They didn't say there was going to be the pony box.
Future.
Future pony box coming.
Yeah, a future. So like the Legion of the First Prince, but the Legion of the Furry Pony.
Legion of the Furry.
I really dig how they've called him later down here the Galloping God. And I just think that's such a wonderful onomatopoeia for this raging doom god, but then he's galloping around.
Yeah, I agree. Please continue reading the rules. Thanks to Gorkamorka for donating £50 to the show.
Okay, so we'll just change rule now. So I can't be bothered to read that one. So the destroyer of the Draconith Empire, Kragnos hunted down the dragonkind across all the ancient realms and carries an abiding hatred of their kin to this day. And I read this earlier and I was like, this one's kind of rubbish. Narratively, cool, but not great. You can re-roll charge rolls and hit rolls for this model while it is within 12 inch of any enemy Star Drakes, Drakes, Dracoths, or Dracolines.
As if Star Drakes needed to get any worse.
Yeah, well, I saw it earlier and I was like, he charges the Star Drake. If he hasn't killed it, he might as well go home.
Yeah, he didn't need that, but I dig that. It's like Star Drakes. It's like massive, big, huge, amazing models. And then you broke Rob. You broke Rob. The chat ruined him.
But I don't think I don't think Drakes and Dracoths, is that a word? Are those what we normally say?
They're going to be keywords in the next battle term. Obviously, we should probably talk about it. I've been spent 2 hours thinking about this. I've got so many really nice things to say, but none of them are in a single sentence at this stage. Thanks to Dr. Roshi for donating £10 to the show. Obviously, that's incredible. What an incredibly kind act to do that. And then Swaggy Shadowsword for donating £60 to the show. Incredibly kind and overwhelming. Thanks to Percussive Scruff for donating £20 to the show. Incredibly overwhelming and kind and far too nice to all of you. So, you're just unbelievably lovely people. Maybe we should just end the show now to make everyone stop doing this and never do the review. That's what they paid for, to never do the review. How does that sound?
The YouTube thugs will probably come around your house, so we should probably finish.
Thanks, MJ Pigs.
They've probably put their checks in the mail, so you'll
fucking get checks in the mail. Jesus Christ, Nathan.
Horse's head's on its way.
I'd personally like to shout out all the people who are specifically donating something to do with 0.69 or 690 or something to the show, because you guys obviously are threading the needle there. It's the amount obviously is important, but sometimes it's not just the amount, it's the tactics behind it. Like Guyzadi, I think it was £3.69. Just very cunning, just amazingly cunning.
Just tactical, isn't it? At this point, is this so? You guys are paying for us to be able to finally afford Warhammer Plus? Is that the real reason that this is happening?
Probably, but we haven't got to that, and so we're going to have to do this because I want to see Nathan's face when we talk about it.
Yeah, can we start again? Because I have not been in the room. I have not been in the room at all for like 20 minutes.
You start
now.
Again. Go for it.
Okay.
Well, it's not gone anywhere anyway.
Yeah, I know. So 18 wounds with a top save, right? But he's got no DPR. But he's got the shield inviolate. Tuskbreaker makes Kragnos impervious to even the most potent magical hexes and bolts. That's his shield. It doesn't do anything for his armor save. It says. But this is
it makes him invulnerable because look, it's got a weapon profile, so he uses it to hit wizards that can't cast magic if they got a shield hole in their head. That's how you stop. That's how you get invulnerable to magic. You hit the wizard with the shield, and
really
it stops the spell. Yeah.
But you know what I find ridiculous a little bit there, just by a bee's dick, is that the designer's note says like so. The shield stops the spell, right? So if he's affected by a spell or an endless spell ability, you roll 3d6. If it's greater, then the casting roll for the spell or endless spell, you ignore the effects on the model.
That's that.
Great. But it specifically says in the designer's notes, use the casting value on the spell or endless spell's war scroll, not the roll for the spell or endless spell. So you've then got Nagash or who's like, I cast, and because of all of these buffs, I've got like +9 or whatever. He's like, I cast it on a 27, eat a sack of dicks. And he's like, yes, but it only needs a 5 to cast. So shabangabang, it's off, go home.
I think, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's almost, and I know there's lots of ways to do mortal wounds in the game now, but like one of the big things we obviously see is like Kroku just chips out a bunch of like global mortal wounds that are really hard to stop, and I think like it gives Kragnos the ability to get a bit closer. Like I think that's why it's there, right? They didn't want to give him a straight up DPR, but they've given him like the ability to cross the board without taking damage from spells. At least.
I just found out that we have 300 people watching, which is amazing. Thank you, everyone, so much. We started reviewing the Kragnos War Scroll 25 minutes ago. Still not even 25
It's going really well.
Through. It's going really
well.
I didn't realise he had that 3d6 ability.
You didn't know he had what? It was on a community article. We talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Shit,
Nathan was in the room, but not in the room.
I was like, I was still at the weapon profile. I was like, yeah.
But damage.
It's a fucking great weapon.
We haven't even talked about that. Oh, Reaper, thanks for donating £10 to the show. Dan, I just want to let you know that if I walked into a Warhammer store and you tapped literally, and I mean literally any fucking box, and you said, "Shabangabang, this is for you," I'd buy it immediately. Like, as soon as I heard that then, I was like, what did you just say? Because I'm in. Shabangabang. Like, let me talk about the weapon profile. The Dread Mace. 3-inch range. Shabangabang. Say it with me, chat. Unbelievable. 6 attacks, shabangabang. Yeah, hits on a 3, shabangabang. Wounds on a 2, big shabangabang. Rend 3, shabangabong. Yeah, damage 4, shabangabang. Yeah, unbelievable output. Yeah, Nathan, you pro this?
Yeah, he's a good pony.
It's his fucking mace. It's not. Go on. Yeah, it's
still a good pony though.
Okay, great pony.
Great pony. Yeah, it's really. Oh, for fuck's sake! I don't know what's even happening. I think you broke the thing. It doesn't bracket. That's the key point in the chat. That everyone is saying.
Maces don't bracket.
Maces don't bracket. I guess one
Dragons
of the big
do.
Dragons do. Yes. Also, so do Gargants, Mega Gargants. I guess the real question is what is it that makes the pony stronger than the Mega Gargant, I guess. Thank you to Yes Meat Balls for donating £25. His statement is, "Shabangabang, this is for you."
Shabangabang.
Shabangabang.
I'm gonna say that it's spelt. It's not she bang a bang. It's sha. So I'm gonna. Let's go. SHA bang. Bang. That's so it's shot bang a bang, not She Bang a Bang. It's
She Bang a Bang. I met her on the weekend, not Sharp Bang a Bang.
Nathan, this is going to be... Someone will be like, I've listened to that Honest Wargaming show. Like, have you? What did you learn? Nothing. I learned nothing. But Shebang a Bang...
Nothing about the game. Lots about other things.
I love.
Definitely learn how to make you cry.
Yeah. Thank you to and you're all brilliant people. Swaggy Shadowsword, what a fucking mentalist. Dr. Roshi, thanks. Right, so incredible output, right? Tuskbreaker, 3 attacks, 3s, 2s, rend 2 damage. D3 damage, and of course, with an old school thing. Me and Nathan used to do this podcast called Bravery One. Don't listen to it. It's not for human consumption. Don't try and track it down ever. We would do this game, which Games Workshop seems to have implemented now. They've listened to it. Well, remember they did used to listen to it. Ben Johnson's like, I've got your T-shirt on our wall in the office. And I was like, that's awkward. Because we used to have a section where I would pretend I was in a relationship with Jervis Johnson. And after we'd made love, he would tell me rumours. That was our rumours and news section, Pillow Talk with Jervis.
Pillow Talk with Jervis, yeah.
Pillow Talk with Jervis.
That was great.
We should bring that back. Anyway, so Nathan, what's the max output that we've got from Kragnos?
I think we should take turns, though. Really.
Okay, you want to...
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Pillow Talk, yeah. Instead of you hogging them all to yourself, just let all the co-hosts have a go with the Pillow Talk.
All right, well, that's what we'll call the news section next time. But my point is, what's the max damage that you can get out of Kragnos? Because 24 damage just from the Dread Mace. Tuskbreaker, who's got a maximum damage of 9. And then if he's unbracketed, so that means if on his top bracket, 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, a maximum of 12 damage. So we're looking at 45 damage coming out of Kragnos every time.
Not counting when he shouts at people beforehand. Oh, but does he have to be wounded to be shouting at people?
He has to be wounded to shout.
He has to be the bit of damage pony.
Yeah, not going to happen. Is
Yeah, and he only ever does max output. Thank you to the Lord Whale for donating £3.69 and saying Shebang Bang, and also the new war cry of the Monday night show. And then, thanks to
Shebang Bang.
Shebang Bang.
I'm really liking the people who are doing a Ricky Martin comparison. It's like shebang, shebang. Oh, baby.
Maybe we should release that for Christmas.
What? Us three?
Yeah, like 4. An Honest Wargamer album.
I don't know why I couldn't count.
Yeah, that'd be a real winner. Real winner right there.
Chuckaputty, don't link the Bravery One podcast. Don't link it. Don't link it in the chat. Delete. Ban Chuckaputty from the chat. Don't listen to that. There's 300 people. We'll get cancelled. Right, okay, so 18 wounds. Where are we up to with this fucking
We never counted in the 36 mortal wounds he does when he charges as well.
Of course.
True, of course.
I'd like to talk about this now.
45 plus 36 is whatever.
Only if it's a monster, though.
80 odd.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to charge a monster and pile into a load of other stuff and do all the rest. So yeah.
No, this isn't a tactics show, Nathan. This is a War Scroll show.
It's a tactics show.
We're doing all the numbers. True numbers.
This isn't Bedwood Jervis. This is just the show.
Right, listen, rampaging destruction is the rule. This galloping god pounds through the press of his foes, his hooves flattening armoured warriors left and right, not just the left, the whole way. After this model makes a charge move, you can either roll a dice for each enemy unit that is within 1 inch of this model, and you can pick one enemy monster within 1 inch, or you can pick one enemy monster, and you roll a dice on 2 plus this of D6 mortal wound. Quite nice. His base isn't huge, though. He's on a Teclis size base. He's not on a Maw Crusher base, so he hasn't got as big a base, which I think is interesting. And I think that that D6 mortal wounds is actually really, really important. I really appreciate all of the moderators banning each other out of the chat. Really appreciate that. Right now.
That's going to be unmoderated chat because they're all
even better.
Suicide on the chat.
Right, but so they're going to do D6 mortal wounds, and I've seen that work really well with the Gargant. So you kind of like sideline into a couple of units, and you're just doing D6 mortal wounds all over. That's quite strong. I guess the main thing is that if he strikes a monster, you roll 2d6. Now, if you roll a 7, nothing happens. However, you then roll. If you don't roll a 7, you take the highest dice and then you take the lowest dice, you times it by the highest dice, and then you do that many mortal wounds. Now, thanks to Maxi Taxi in the chat, on the chat on Twitter, and some other people for doing some maths for me. So one of the things I talked about was that on a 7, you do nothing, right? That's really important. However, that happens 18% of the time. So the guys in the chat did some really nice work for me. And then, so only 18% nothing happens. However, 36% of the time, here's some nice maths, you will kill a 14 wound monster 38% of the time, which I think is quite, that's quite interesting, because obviously when Games Workshop really ruined it, I think, because they were like 36 mortal wounds, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. But actually, if you pitch it like that, 36% of the time you're going to one shot. Like, I know Guerzy's pointing out the average damage is nearly 11 mortal wounds, so like 10.6.
Don't give me them statistics. Just give me big numbers.
Sorry, everyone. If you are listening to the podcast, every time you hear that rattle, like someone's like smashing a stick into a microphone, if you'd like to send all of your messages to James Powell at, wherever.
How are you hearing that?
Well, because you've got a microphone, and
sound travels through the air.
You hear it now? There we go.
Do it
really quiet
around me.
Do it
especially in front of my mouth.
My point is that this is our physics show. Maths, physics, movies. What more could shebang-a-bang from this show is what you're getting.
And time, because remember an hour and 11 minutes ago, Rob, when you said this would be a quick show.
Very tired. Right, my point is, Craig Panther
that's why they're all donating, right? Because all Rob wants to do is go home and sleep. This is his 4th show of the day, and as long as the chat keeps running him ragged, he's just gonna be like a corpse strung up like a scarecrow, like war dollies. Let's keep him going. Let's see how far we can push him.
Listen, a telethon. Play your shebang-a-lang. Right, my point is that I think this might be one of my favourite rules I've seen written for a long time, is what I'm going to say. I think whole War Scroll-wise, pretty nice. Not having a DPR save, like when we get to the points conversation, I think interesting. But this is a great rule, because sometimes it does fucking nothing. And that's amazing. Like, it's not like I'm definitely going to do 6 mortal wounds. I'm definitely going to do this thing. It's just like the wildness on like the destruction, because this is such a destruction rule. This is like a destruction guy like eyeing up a monster and being like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna eat the crap out of you.
Gonna run you over.
And then sometimes, 18% of the time you're gonna do nothing, and their face is gonna look like the most perfect picture. Like, the reason you play war games is to watch that other human being's face in abject horror. But then the other 38% of the time, it flip reverses, not to quote Blazing Squad, and then you get this. You get the same, right? You get the same, and their face is like horrified as you just one shot a model, and anyway, like incredible rule. I love it. Nathan, what do you think of this rule?
Yeah, it's great. It looks fun, and so that's what it's all about. So that's what we're there for. Run things over.
Nathan, finish your point. Please finish your point, and I'll read it out.
It's a fun rule. You get to run over a monster or maybe some little guys. So I'm in. I like it. Yeah. He's a fun pony. Let's do it.
He is a very fun pony. Thank you to Please Unban Me from the chat for donating £36.69.
What a great name!
What a great name! It's very much appreciated. If our mods could unban whoever they banned, that would be nice. Thank you. But I think they've all banned each other, so no one can unban you. So
I think that none of the mods still exist. Anyway. But you know how we know that this is a trash war scroll, though? Like, just to put it out there, I can tell very quickly that this is a bad model, not a good war scroll. It's clearly the bin guy. No in addition. Not a single in addition. Look at all of those bonus rules. not one in addition. And we all know that that's how you tell if a model's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is really nice because actually, if we we think the Star Drakes and Dracoths thing means that there's going to be, because we've heard about Dragonkin. We've heard the new Stormcast are all Dragonkin related. So there's loads of dragons and dragonkind, and I don't really know how many more times I can say the word dragon. So I think you get what I'm saying. Dragons, Stormcast dragons, Dracoths and the like, Dracoline sort of types. No Wyverns. They're out. Not.
Can't
D's
copyright
only.
that.
Huh?
Can't copyright Withen.
Can't. Can you copyright Dragon?
No, but you can copyright Dracoth.
Dracoth. Ooh, okay.
But there's drakes there as well.
Yeah, you can't copyright that.
You can't copyright Drakes.
He's a singer. He's probably already got that copyright.
Yeah.
He's actually just, I think he's just Drake. Like, there's not one.
But what's multiples of him then?
I guess that would be Drake's, yeah.
Just if someone does a whole army that's just 3D printed Drakes as a Drake army.
Yeah, do you know what? Eric Sorbanen has made a good point. Why isn't he furious at Magma Droths?
Droths, no wings, can't fly.
Yeah.
Different, technically different family, right? Because all of those are technically from Dracothia.
Magma Droths are from the Great Salamander thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know our Age of Sigmar lore as a narrative.
So they're a type of salamander. They're not a type of dragon.
Dragon, yeah. He doesn't likes
them.
He hates the ones that used to have wings or still have wings. He's okay with the ones that are basically just a large skink. He's like, what is it? It's basically just a newt. It's okay. We're fine with that one.
I don't want to derail the show at any point, but just something popped
I mean, you
into
have
my
all
mind.
night, so let's carry
Well,
on.
something just popped into my mind, and I don't know if anyone does anyone follow it? Does anyone follow? I can't remember his name. Tikkiwiti, that guy, who's pissed off ghosts, and also
Takai Waititi.
That guy, Takai Waititi, that fella, who's very talented. I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, was originally in Flight of the Conchords. Have you seen who he's dating at the moment?
Is it Kragnos?
How does this link to the show?
Well, I just think it came because we were talking about dragons and Drake, and then I was like, oh, this is
interesting. He's going out with Drake.
Is he dating? Yeah.
He's not dating Drake. Google. No, in fact, no, James. I want you to Google. We'll carry on with the show. You Google who he's dating. Yeah, first off, that would be very funny.
Is it a centaur? Is he dating a centaur? Is that why you're excited about it?
I bet it's a man crusher.
Yeah.
Someone tell me how to spell his name.
Yeah, you're never going to get it. I always type that piss off ghost fella is what I type in the show.
He's dating small. Yeah, that's what.
I just thought this is an interesting tidbit because we're all impressed by his talent. He was obviously great in Thor Ragnarok. He was great in Jojo Rabbit. He was great in Flight of the Conchords. I just thought it would be fun to talk about it. But anyway, we'll sideline. Stu Redacted. It is kind of Rita Ora, if you remember Rita Ora. Do you remember Rita Ora?
I prefer Duncan's version, Dudarday's version, which is Duncan, like two thin coats.
Oh, he is going out with Rita Ora.
And?
Tessa Thompson,
who is the Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok. He's going out with both of them at the same time.
Wow.
Just thought that was worth talking about, but apparently it's not. So
that would be a very. I'm just thinking I'd be thoroughly intimidated by both of those people.
See, I'd be intimidated by him. He's hilarious. What if I wasn't as funny?
You just
what
if you
like
you're not.
One's parents more than the others? That gets complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up. It's not important. Right. So Nathan, incredibly silent. Notably silent. Got any thoughts, Nathan?
Good on him, mate.
He's got some thoughts, but he doesn't want to get the show shut down. He says there's everywhere near that red cancel the show button, and Nathan's just not going near it today, not going near the button.
Anyway, all right. So we've talked about the destruction rule.
It's fine.
We've talked about everything. Let's talk about the design. He does plus 1 bravery as well, but that's whatever. Finally, the show notes, not show notes, we don't do those. The designer's commentary, which I think is really nicely written here, is you can include Kragnos in the Destruction Army even if he does not have the army's keyword on his war scroll. Yeah. If you do so, he cannot use or benefit from any of the army's allegiance abilities. I mean, it's Rita Ora and the... it's just a lot! It's the point! Why is no one else bothered by this? I get that he's talented. It just seems a lot. It's really where I was going.
Does anyone think Rob is overtired?
I just think it's really impressive, and I just think well done him.
You can see what's been keeping him up all night. So, yeah.
It was clearly vexing him.
Maybe you should write to him and ask.
Yeah. Just let it go, man.
I might see if he comes on the show. Right.
Yeah, he's got bunk beds. Tell him you've got bunk beds.
It's room for everyone.
Right, so if you do so, he cannot benefit from, and this is really important, any of that army's allegiance abilities, and what's really key about that, or rules as written. So you might be able to look at, Nick from South London Legion was making a good point that you can make, if you put him into a destruction army like Iron Jaws, you could use the Fix Him beat to heal him D3 because he has no healing war scrolls. So you can heal him D3, but unfortunately the Fix Him beat is an allegiance ability because you gain access to it by having an allegiance. So it isn't implied there, unfortunately. So really, the only thing you could try and find to buff him is some sort of war scroll ability or item or something that might benefit a friendly unit or whatever that situation might be. And they're pretty much few and far between. So really, as a war scroll, to finish this hour-long review of a war scroll off, is...
Big war scroll, though.
Big war scrolls, true.
Big scroll energy.
We didn't even talk about the fact he's moving 10 inches. I guess we kind of need to talk about some of the negatives very quickly. We'll just fly through these in under a minute. No DPR save, so very susceptible to mortal wounds. Movement 10 and doesn't fly means it's very, very likely for him to just hit a screen and be blocked up. He doesn't have run and charge. He doesn't have a retreat and charge. He doesn't have a teleport. He doesn't have a heal. Now, obviously you're like, oh, Rob, he's not going to have all of those things. I get you, but then he's not able to get them from anything else. Fuck me. Thanks for Crazy Horse for donating £100 to the show. That's very kind of you. I assume that's because of the Takiti Watiti news. And all I can say, Crazy Horse, is...
Oh, no, he finally redeemed that £100 thing, choose a tattoo for Rob that he has to get that we've had secretly installed in the show this whole time. Is that what he's doing? Might be doing that one.
Is he going to get those 3 names? What are they again? Takiti, Quadki...
I thought he was just getting Dan, Nathan, James.
That's what I'm pretty sure.
I thought the gimmick was butt cheek, face cheek, dice roll to see who gets the face.
Do you want to get Honest War Gamer tattoos? I'm being serious. Do you want? We should get Honest War Gamer tattoos. I really think we should. I'll get one. I don't have a single tattoo, but if you 3 will get one, I'll get one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this goes so mate. Look, why would you suggest this to the chat? Look at what they've done.
They can't pick. Fuck it, Crazy Horse. Thank you. That's obviously deeply kind. Also, thank you to Ziggy for donating £2.69 and then £3.69 to the show. That's hilarious. It's very much appreciated. Talk about a real priority role. The tensest moment of our lives. Oh God! How much have we donated? We're picking. Oh no! Another show.
You can pick Rob's. We'll pick our own.
Yeah.
We all get the same. We get one design and we all get it. It'll be awesome.
Like the Lord of the Rings thing.
The Lord of the Rings thing.
It should genuinely be. It should be tangent though, right? Like that's pretty much the thing that sums up this show. More than anything.
Just a tangent.
Just a tangent.
Hey, if there's anyone new here...
Tangerine.
If there's anyone new here who's never watched before, how are you finding the show today?
I mean, there's over 300 people in this chat. Someone's having a good time.
Why?
It's definitely me.
Yeah. Thanks anyway. Thanks very much for all the donations. It's super appreciated.
I do vote for a Gandalf tattoo.
I talked through all the negatives, so I'll talk about it really quickly. I think, this is my opinion, and I'd like your 3's opinion. I think that he's a great war scroll if they pitch him at like 450, 500, because you can't put any, this is points by the way, because you can't put any abilities on him, so he just does what he does, which is he moves forward 10 inches, and then he charges, and then when he gets to something, he probably beats the fuck out of it, which is great, but that's all he'll ever do. He could get locked up in combat, maybe. He doesn't kill Marathi. I saw a Facebook post where someone was like, he must be 1,000 points because Marathi's in trouble, and I'm like, you don't know how that works. That's okay. That's fine. Like, he can get handed dusted off the board. He doesn't have the Mega Gargant rule where he doesn't, like, he can't get auto-slain. In fact, a skink priest with the Serpent God Dagger can go over and murder him, which would be, and I'm not joking, fucking hilarious. Like,
also, Gotrek will turn this guy into absolute mincemeat, and I just can't wait for the first time that happens. Like, he just climbs up his little centaur body all the way up to his head, and then it's just like, Nyah! And like cuts him right down the middle.
Yeah, someone pointed out he could go in Archeon's sword, which isn't very godly, let's be honest. So he, like, I think he's a great war scroll, but just because he's a big centerpiece model and 100 fucking pounds, like, which is quite expensive, I would argue. Also, he's slow. One of the reasons Archeon's so scary is in, let's say, Hos Arcanum, where you see him the most, is he gets to make a huge move. Or even if you play him in Khorne, you can use Blood Tithe to double move him. So really, you've got a 24-inch moving model or an 18-inch moving model with an auto 12-inch charge in each. And that doesn't mean that he's not a great, like, mid-table unit, but I kind of think that points-wise, he should be, like, 450, 500. Is where he should be, because you can't buff him at all, and he doesn't buff anyone. He's not got a command ability, none of those things. So that's kind of my take. And but I would like to say, I think it's a great war scroll, just don't make him too expensive. Because I think for the Destruction Bros, he's amazing. You just put him on the table, and he's just going to slam forward at stuff. Like, or the screen that's right in front of him. One of those two things is what he's going to hit.
So, don't stand near him, either, with your army.
Well, it does D3 mortal wounds. Like,
well, yeah. You don't
not everyone else's army, Nathan, is made up of 6 sneaky snufflers.
Okay.
Are we calling points now? What we reckon?
Yeah, that's my question. So Twitch chat, points. I think 500, and I think anything above 500 is criminal. Is what I'm going for. And I say that because I want people to... Do you know what? This is the very best way, by the way. Games Workshop, obviously, they know we're busy at the weekend with the Super Series, so they've released this early. Really appreciate that. So they've released it for us to review. I actually love this, because this is us allowing us to review it sans points. Normally when we see the leaks, or we see stuff when the actual battle tome comes out, we know what the points are. So we get to kind of attribute value to it before we see it, like, which I think is cool. So yeah, what do you guys think? And also, thank you to Overwatch for resubscribing and everyone who's subscribed and donated money today. That's great.
I can give you mine because I feel like I've had this argument a million times today.
Okay, go for it.
So I think I'm going to go with this. I think he'll be pointed wrong.
Okay.
Because I think, like, if you read that war scroll,
yeah,
he sounds really scary. Like, damage-wise, he does more damage than most things physically possibly can do in the game. So I think they'll have pointed him like... So I think my debate was 2 Celestant Primes plus a bit. So Celestant Prime's 300. So I reckon he's probably about 650, maybe 655, because we like 5s these days.
We do.
But I think, for me, he should be about 550. I think 550 is his sweet spot. 500, you'd see him in every army all day long. Destruction.
Right. Okay. Nathan, where you at?
Oh, I think Dan was quite close. Oh, Dan.
Thank you. I didn't even need to say it.
Yeah. I think Dan will be quite close. But yeah, no, I think James is quite close as well. I think... obviously, he's a repurposed Beast of Chaos model, so he'll probably have a number that ties into that. So I'll go with 666, Mark of the Beast. That's how many points he'll be.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take.
Yeah, he's going to be about 650. You're paying... He'll be more expensive than Marathi. And
See, but that's what's wild, right? Is because you can't kill Marathi.
Yeah, but and he's not got as many.
Do you know what the best bit of that was, though?
That Marathi does, but yeah, it'll be more expensive. That
the 300 people watching the show right now just had the biggest Age of Sigmar 3 league. Not only are they going in 5s, they're also going in 6 points.
6-point increments.
But no 2s. No 2s, just 6s.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Marathi may be a little bit too cheap because Marathi's an unkillable model. Still not. I kind of like Marathi because I think it's a really interesting challenge, but I also don't like Marathi because it's like it really takes up the core mechanic. It takes the choice off the opposing player to be able to kill something, which I think is wild.
I think it builds a like Gotrek, right? Yes, he reduces all damage to 1, but he can still be killed. So you still have to play tactically with him. Whereas Marathi, you can throw her forward and know that she won't die for a certain period of time. Like, even if everything goes to hell, which means that like you can say, yeah, there's some tactic in there, but I don't think there is. Because you don't have to plan. You don't have to worry about her getting swamped or going into combat with something she's vastly outmatched by. Because you're like, it doesn't matter. In she goes. Why? Can't be killed. It'll take you my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, whatever, before anything bad happens to me. And that, for me, is where I'm like,
so what do you think of this, then?
Points-wise, I'm going to go with... I have 3 different options. Like a triangle, the strongest shape... I'm going with 3. The first is looking at it what I think he should be, which is 480 points. That's my call for what he should be, just looking at this if we get nothing else. Now, if we see a Kragnos sub-faction, like the Be'lakor one, and he suddenly has abilities to get other stuff, that'd possibly change it. He might be worth like 560 to 580. If there is a sub-faction he can be put in that gives him access to buffs or healing or something like that. However, I'm pretty sure the bin guy wrote this war scroll, so he probably pointed it. So I reckon 620 points is my call. Okay. Is how he's actually going to be pointed, and it'll be way overpointed for when he's released.
Okay, so that's what you all think. What do you think he's actually worth? That's the question to the Twitch chat. Not what is he going to be pointed at because of this reason or that reason. What do you think he's actually worth? Like, give me a worth value. Because mine's 450, 500. What do you say, James?
550.
550.
480. 480. Can I say Chris Danish 84? 300 points, empty stupid destruction players' wallets, and then double it in the next General's Handbook.
Yeah, all right. Nathan, where you at?
Yeah, he's got to be, I don't know, about 450, something like that, I reckon.
Yeah. I think that's a key point for us all to talk about, and I think actually a really nice thing for Games Workshop to put this out there. Now, whether or not you're disappointed or elated when you find out his points, and whether or not you disagree or agree, obviously we've all had our opinion on it, and we think it's around like that 450 to 500-ish points or 550 points between that bracket. I think that's interesting because actually when we get to see the final stuff, we can have a really good conversation about like a lot of the reasons what the 3 co-hosts have said about why it's been scored what it's been scored as. But then maybe I think because it doesn't tie in with a lot of the army, and I think it's a great fun war scroll because, and this is really important, sometimes you're going to really rely on that mortal wound hit, and then you're going to do nothing. I guess it's going to be one of those key points. Anyway, really exciting war scroll review. Nailed it, by the way, guys.
An hour and a half later.
Absolutely flawless review. Of that. Spy Center time, correct. In one of our new sections called, if you guys are new, by the way, our new sections are called What the Fuck is Going On? That's where we're into our new section. And one of the things we haven't had time to talk about because we've been busy with Super Series and other stuff is the announcement of the Warhammer animations, Nathan. The Warhammer animations
on the weekend.
Weekend, on Saturday. And on Saturday, of course, we were talking, we saw that not only will there be new animations, we saw a lot, and I mean a lot, arguably too many. Just, Dan, I want to know what you think about this. If I was pitching new animations at you, how would you feel if I just showed you a floaty title, that's it, but then I did that 7 or 8 times? for different animations.
Oh, I mean, everybody knows that the key to good animation is a floaty title. In fact, that's mostly all my job is at the moment, is ensuring that there are enough floaty titles just on everything. Because there's the old for those, this joke is probably going to go over so many people's heads, but I'm still going to do it anyway. There's an old saying. There's an old saying. That when it comes to film and TV, you tell, don't show. So I like to be told about the things that are coming up, not shown any evidence of them to get me excited. And I find that that's the best way to do it. So I think that it seems like that was the goal. Tell, don't show.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, what do you, James, think of the whole setup? How do you think?
I have to say I paid very little attention to it because I saw that it was called Warhammer Plus, and I was like, "Oh, that's off-putting."
Why? Because you hate Disney?
No, I love Disney Plus.
Okay, then.
But I think this is a good example for me. So I'm probably going to jump the boat a little bit here. So I'm blaming you for leading me astray. But like, I brought Disney Plus because it came out at the beginning of Lockdown 1 UK, and there was some like deal if you brought it for a year. And I brought it, but do like a Disney film. But I think like actually when I brought it, let's say I can't remember, I think it was 50 quid for the year, and it had every Disney film on, but that was about it. And then like a load of kids shows, and I think there probably was nowhere near enough content to rival something like Netflix. And like I was like, oh, Warhammer Plus, that's got to be their own streaming service, unless they were clever and attached it to someone else's streaming service. And I don't know how you price up a really niche product with probably 5 shows on.
Well, yeah, I think that there's kind of two questions about maybe us as an audience. I guess the real question is why are we even having the conversation. But I guess one of the things that's most exciting for me and maybe for my co-hosts all the time is getting new people into the hobby. And I think one of the fun things is when you have friends who maybe aren't in the hobby, but they saw the Astartes video, for instance, you're like, yes. And obviously on the Monday show, we're big fans of Age of Sigmar. And as much as I am deeply invested, I actually follow a couple of the developers on Twitter for the new mobile game for Age of Sigmar that's coming soon. Soulbox Guardian, I think it's called, or Storm Wizard Mage Tower Defense League. I can't remember its name at the moment, but I'm very thrilled about that. I'm quite invested in the awesomeness that is Age of Sigmar being put out there. I was just having a conversation today with Matt, actually. He was talking about the new art direction for Age of Sigmar 3 and even some of the new titles. If we look at the Dominion box, which we'll kind of finish on the show on talking about the Dominion box, that's got a very like Roman-esque titling, which I think is really, really interesting if you look at it. And because it looks almost Horus Heresy. Like a lot of people are saying, is this a Horus Heresy announcement? But we know it's the Age of Sigmar 3 unboxing, which is weird. So my point is that I'm quite invested in Warhammer Plus, or more importantly, their cartoons or their media pushing forward the hobby that I'm really excited about, and also being a consumer of that stuff. Like, really big fan of that. So, Nathan, not sure you'll have much or care much, but like, I wonder what your thoughts are about there being a paid subscription service to watch some Warhammer cartoons.
It sounds interesting. Obviously, it depends on the price. I assume most of it will be 40k, which doesn't really grab me. So, I don't know. Probably pass me by, but yeah, we'll see what happens, eh?
Well, so I mean, that's my kind of question. If it was just available on YouTube, let's say, yeah, would it be something that, you know, because you love the short stories, right? When they put out like a new short story, that's one of those things you generally tend to read, I think. Like
yeah, I do like reading some of the fiction, or listening to some of the audio books that they do. They are expensive for what they are, though. The books are just expensive when you compare them to other books. So yeah, if the I don't know, I like watching cartoons actually, and I like watching anime and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll just have to see what it's like when it comes. Does, like you say, though, I understand your point. It's such a good way to spread the word, isn't it? Like, yeah. Draw new people in. So it would be, yeah.
I think that's one of the because we're not like necessarily invested in Games Workshop like doing well or not doing well. I think one of the things about the community and as a community focused show, obviously a narrative show as well, like we're most interested in growing the community, developing the community, and being a part of the community. And I think the bigger that audience grows, like I remember live tweeting with like my mates at the end of like Game of Thrones and being super hype, and I would be so thrilled if there was. It didn't even have to be Game of Thrones level. I could just be excited if we were all like, "Oh, the final episode tonight. You're going to watch it to see if that Stormcast guy somehow wins." Spoiler, yes.
I think
you can't die.
Like, sorry, I'm jumping in, but I think like one of the interesting things for me is you're right. Like if you look at, I don't know, certain shows that like built huge hype. So The Witcher.
Yep, amazing.
Great example. Was a book. Was an amazing computer game. Made a Netflix show. All the hype. Like people were watching The Witcher. Like my old job, everyone that worked there watched it. No one had read a book. No one had played a game. That's like 60 people or whatever. People loved it. People were like, I'm going to buy that book. And I think for me, like how they choose to release like Warhammer Plus as a whole depends on who it hits. Because like for me, let's say it's 50 quid for the year and they're like, there's going to be 6 huge shows. We all know that most Warhammer players will be like, oh, that's half a Kragnos or 2 boxes of elves. I'm just going to pay for it because I want to be part of that. But I don't know how I get like my mates that might know what Warhammer is but don't play Warhammer. Like I've got mates that play Total Warhammer 1, 2, 3, will buy 3, sorry, but don't play the physical board game or tabletop. And then I've got to go to them, oh, these shows are amazing. Drop 50 quid a year to watch 5 shows. I'm not sure how many people you get.
So I think one of the things is utility. And no, Dan, let me ask you, before I move on to that, Dan, let me ask you, like, how do you feel about the conversation about being a closed ecosystem over it being on something like Netflix, like, or partnering with something? Because I know that they're doing something with Amazon, so they might be doing both. They might be like working in partnership people on some big budget stuff, and they might be trying to develop their own way to tell their own stories behind a paywall. And I think that's kind of interesting. What do you think?
So super quickly, just for anyone who maybe not be aware of the model that a lot of those like Netflix and Amazon and stuff like that work, they very rarely go more than 2 seasons with something. Because what their seasons or series are about doing is generating new subscribers. And subscribers very rarely stay for a second season of a show. They stay because they're excited for a new show. And I'll use Stranger Things as an example, right? Huge phenomena, massive, generated so much interest. But have you heard much about it since in the seasons that came out? Sure, people get excited about the following seasons, but no one is signing up to Netflix anymore for Stranger Things. And it's the same with, say, you look at Disney Plus. They drop new seasons. They drop first. It's always the first season of something that generates the fury,
the
and
new
interest.
Viewers,
and then very rarely do you get much more than a second or a third season. And I don't have a problem with it. I think it's really, really good, because it means that rather than old tired series like churning out the same thing, you've got showrunners who design their story to be 2 to 3 seasons long. They tell their story, that's it, and it's a beautiful, well-told thing, rather than, say, like Lost, which just bloats and goes on forever and has a really disappointing finish. So that, like, put that aside, that's how the business operates. I don't think Warhammer Plus will be able to operate like that because it won't have enough reach and content unless they're mainly targeting War Dolly players. What I think, if they're smart, they'll do is that it'll be the kind of thing where the first 2 to 3 episodes of everything are available free. And then you subscribe if you want to see the rest of the season. And I actually think that would be a really, really cunning way of doing business and a really positive way of doing it, because then for all your mates that you're trying to get into Warhammer, they can watch it a bit and get excited and then watch more, play the game. You don't have to invest more than you want to. But if you then see that and you're like you were saying, Rob, holy hell, I wonder if he survives. I wonder if he makes it. And it's like, well, every Monday there's a new episode at whatever. You're like, you know what? Yes, like you've tickled me enough and I'm there. But a streaming service lives or dies on new content and new series. And that's going to be the challenge for Warhammer Plus. Not having awesome series, not having awesome stories, but constantly generating new series and new hype to make it worthwhile staying as a subscriber and attracting more. And that's my TED Talk on how they work.
Thank you very much. I just want to talk about some of the things that are in the chat because I think there's some really good. Number one, Netflix killing Marco Polo was a huge crime. I massively agree with that. If you go check that out, beautiful. And I think also obviously Chris Danish couldn't agree with you more. Obviously, we've all got access to the Honest Wargamer My Warhammer account or our Warhammer account. If you'd like the login details, it's the honestwargamer@gmail.com, and the password is we love you. 69, of course. That's the end bit. But Scott B's got it right, and I think we saw it earlier on in the chat. I think now. Maybe with them removing digital codexes from, and this will touch into our Age of Sigmar 3 conversation, for 40k, and more than likely that they'll end up doing that for Age of Sigmar, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the My Warhammer account is part of this infrastructure, and ultimately we see everything that they produce end up behind this singular paywall. So maybe this Warhammer Plus, and then at that point, I don't think I'm too stressed, but I'm not certain, because we might end up with a 40k app behind there, which is not well done at all. And don't forget, like we'll talk about that in a minute, but there's the 40k app, there's the Age of Sigmar app, there's all of their content on Audible, and they must be playing huge amounts in Audible for every sale. And I imagine that will go behind there as well. Like, I imagine that they'll lift stuff off Audible because they don't want anyone to take their portion of money. That would make loads of sense. So yeah, the Iron Curtain. And I imagine maybe they'll take all of their live shows off Twitch as well as a platform, and they'll end up... Because they talked about... The point is it's not just the cartoons. If we actually go back to the announcement... Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to find the exact wording so I don't get it wrong. But exclusive content behind the paywall for Warhammer Plus. Let me just go find the exact wording because I don't want to mess it up. Oh no. Oh, there we go. This is it. So let me just read it for you because I think this is going to be the interesting thing. Let me get to the bottom. This brand new service is heading your way in July, and you'll be able to. So it won't be long until we have to find out. And then it's, of course, Warhammer Plus will offer far more than these animations. Okay, the full lineup and awesome subscriber benefits will blow your socks off. We'll have more news about how it works, so get that on the 23rd of June. Get on it, the 23rd of June. Oh, is that today? Why isn't it said? Oh, but so I personally think that what we'll end up with is the stuff from Audible off there, the apps off there, any way to get digital products off there at all, their content, and then also, the furthest version of this, which Matt suggested to me today. The furthest version of this is you get early access to pre-orders on products. Might be the one thing. So if you have a Warhammer Plus account, then of course you'll be able to pre-order the stuff which they already have production issues with as well. I'm not trying to bum anyone out, just trying to say that might be end up where we trying to set expectations for people.